Hey, what's good, everybody? It's me, your hero, Benjamin Banks, and you're watching Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. And today, it is another brand new episode of Who's That Cosplayer? And this is the final episode for the spooky month here on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. And joining me today is Sailor Tei Cosplay. Tei, how are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
Hey, thank you so much for joining me. First things first, I want to say is that I love the costume that you have on right now. I see you rocking the Clovers, and everybody that's watching, if you don't know what the Clovers cheerleader outfit is from, it is from Bring It On, the first movie, which is the best one in the series. And if you have not watched it, go and watch it. So yeah, thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me on. I'm so excited.
Hey, you're welcome. And look, I already know it's going to be a fire episode because you're already excited. I'm already hyped up, and everybody that's watching, make sure that you like this video, you subscribe to the channel, and you hit that bell button so that way you're always notified when we have new content here on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. And like D always says, podcast link down in the description. Like, follow, subscribe. So let's go ahead and get into this interview. I was about to say review because I record so many videos. Sometimes it's like it's an interview or review, but this is an interview. And like I said, this is the final one for our spooky month for Who's That Cosplayer. So something that I do up here is I ask all of our guests, what is your origin story? Every hero or villain has one. So tell everybody who Sailor Tei Cosplay is.
Okay, so I always wanted to cosplay since I was a kid, but growing up in the end of the 90s, 2000s, you know, like being a nerd was pretty looked down upon. Uh-huh. So I kind of like just kept my nerdiness to myself, but every Halloween I would always like dress up. And honestly, that felt like the most magical time for me. And it wasn't until I finally got older that I was just like, you can do this whenever you want to do. Like nobody's going to judge you for being the nerd that you are, dressing up like the characters that you love. So about 2 years ago, I joined a Black anime group, and I seen other cosplayers in there as well that were just doing it all the time. Even if there wasn't a con, they just decided they wanted to do it. So I was like, I'm gonna try it out. And I also seen I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name right, so forgive me, but I think it's Kiera Please on Instagram.
I believe that's her name, Kiera Please. Yeah. I'll look it up real quick, but I do believe that's her name.
But yeah, she did a lot of like closet cosplays. So I was just like, if she can do it, I can do it. And that's basically my story. I just started up 2 years ago, trying my best to do the characters that I love. So yeah.
That's awesome. And yeah, and just to put that out there, yeah, we both said it right. It is Kiera, please. So okay. Nobody in the comments attack us, please.
Please.
Please, Kiera, don't come after us. But but yeah, that's awesome. And you know, it's crazy that you say that because everybody that's watching, like, I know Tei from this same anime group. It's the Urban Anime Lounge. Is that the group you're talking about?
Yep, for sure.
Okay, so yeah, because that was the first time that I had saw you in there. And I want to say the cosplay that you were doing Matt from Digimon. And yeah. I was just like, yo, like, that's fire. Like, that's an awesome cosplay. So I just really love how you brought up that you were in this group and you saw that there were other members of the group that were doing cosplays and they were just doing it whatever. Like they were just doing cosplays at home because it's like you don't always have to do a costume at a con. You can do it at home, especially because of, you know, everything that happened last year with the pandemic. You know, a lot of cons weren't running. So it's just like, of course, you still had to keep putting content out there. And what other way to do it than just doing it at home or going to a park or going to a beach, like just going somewhere where the scenery is really nice and just wearing a costume and just setting up a camera or video and just putting yourself out there. So I really think that that's awesome. And another thing I wanted to piggyback off of what you said is that you mentioned Halloween, and because this is our spooky month, that's one thing that I love about the backstories that I hear from all of the cosplayers is that, you know, Halloween and just dressing up in a costume is kind of what set them down their path to getting into cosplay. Because I feel like Halloween, especially like when you're younger, it's like a kind of like a gateway into cosplay. And you know, you get the costumes from Party City or Walmart or Kmart, if there still are any Kmarts around. And you know, like those are just the easy costumes. But then it's like when you get older, it's just like you see how much more advanced it is when it comes to some of the costumes that are out there, or even putting some of the costumes together yourself. Now, I've seen on your page, now some of the cosplays that you've done, like, have you put those together yourself, or were some of them store-bought?
Oh no, a lot of them are store-bought. When I first started getting into it, it would just be stuff that I had in my closet laying around. Like, actually, the picture that's up right there when I did Bubbles, that was like stuff that I had. But a lot of the ones that I have just put up, I've gotten online. My Costumes being a really good site if you're into buying costumes. I cannot sew. Like, the most that I can do is find like outfits that I think mesh together and put that together for a cosplay, which there's nothing wrong with that. I know a lot of people like crap on that idea, but I love it. Closet cosplay was my gateway. So
nice.
Props to everybody who does it. And props to the people that can actually like sew and put their stuff together, because that's amazing. I think the next thing I want to get into is foam smithing, but I know that's going to take quite a lot of time to get there. And when it comes to my patience, it's very thin.
Yes. Like, I 100% agree with you on that. You know, I've interviewed so many cosplayers and some who I haven't interviewed, and like one of the things that they always talk about is like patience wearing thin when it comes to like sewing or using like the Ava phone. I always call it Eva phone, but you know, foaming stuff and making sure that everything is right, because sometimes it's just like, you know, you might like something might be off. It could be something small, and like that's just like, okay, I'm done. But then you come back to it later on, and like I feel like that's one of the cool things about cosplay is that, you know, you don't have to necessarily debut that costume at that con, or like how you said with closet cosplay, like you can do it whenever you're ready to, you know, reveal it to the world. And that's one thing that I love. Now, something else too that I wanted to mention is to piggyback off of how you were saying that, like, you know, it doesn't matter if you buy the costume or if you sew it. It's like, you know, you just need to do whatever you want to do. And it's like, I've been seeing this post on Facebook making the rounds where it's like, you know, you shouldn't shame cosplayers who purchase their cosplays. And I commented on my friend's post, I wish somebody would say something. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, it's like cosplaying is supposed to be fun. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, as long as, you know, you have this costume on and you're having a good time, whether you're by yourself or you're with a group of friends, that's what it's all about. And it's just mind-boggling that there are people out here that are just like, oh, you're not a real cosplayer because you didn't actually do that by hand. It's just like who are you?
Yeah,
you know what
exactly.
I'm saying?
I don't like people who try to gatekeep it. I remember when I first started out too, someone told me that they didn't want to feature my cosplay because I took a selfie instead of like having photographs professionally done. Yeah. And I'm just like, what does it matter? You know, like either way, you know who I'm supposed to be. Mm-hmm. I want to encourage anybody who wants to cosplay to just do it. It doesn't matter where you start from. It doesn't matter if you're just taking photos on your phone, if you have a high-end camera, whatever, just do what makes you happy, because as long as you're happy, I'm sorry. I'm starting to choke up because I just,
let it all out. Like this is what Who's That Cosplayer is about, because it's like up here on this show, whether I'm interviewing a cosplayer or a voice actor or voice actress, actor, whoever, it's just like, it's nothing but love and support. And people, they need to hear this stuff, because you never know who's going to watch this episode and they be like, dang, she's right. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, I do need to be like that. So yeah, go ahead and let it all out.
Yeah, you just got to do it for yourself, because if I let those negative voices get to me, then I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing, and it makes me happy. Mm-hmm. I feel the most confident that I do when I am cosplaying. Mm-hmm. So I want to use this to encourage anybody who wants to do it to just do it. Like Nike, just do it.
I like that. Yeah, I know when I had interviewed cosplayer Honey Haunting, and everybody that's watching, you can watch her episode. It is here on the channel. She had mentioned that when she first got into cosplay, like she was, you know, using her phone, and it's like as time went along, because you do level up. You know what I'm saying? It's like you don't ever stay in the same spot that you start out in, and it's just like, you know, she kept upgrading until like now she has a professional camera that she has herself that she takes pictures with. And you know, it's just one of those things. It's just like, you know, you're not gonna start off with the best equipment or the best costumes. I mean, you hear so many stories where people, they say like the first cosplay that they did, like if they did make it themselves, you know, it wasn't the best thing that they made, but it's like when they put that costume on, they were Captain America. When they put that costume on, they were Goku. You know what I'm saying? Because like you said, it's like you just need to get out there and just do it like Nike and just have a fun time. So I saw, and I don't know if you were at a con or not, but you were cosplaying somebody from Fire Force. Was that at a con, or like have you debuted any of your costumes at a con yet?
Yeah, that was actually my first con since middle school, actually.
Nice.
And it was so exciting because, yeah, I was Princess Ivana from Fire Force. And I actually had 2 cosplays planned for the weekend of me going. But the first day we went, someone came up to us and was like, hey, I'm doing a Fire Force photo shoot for the following day.
Hey,
so
nice.
Feel free to join. And I was just like, well, I guess I'll debut the other cosplay another day. But yeah, I was super excited, and there were so many other Fire Force people there. And I actually got to cosplay with my boyfriend.
Nice.
He was Ogun, so it was pretty exciting. It was fun.
Yeah, hey, I always love it when couples get to cosplay together, because it's like you can do so many things, like when it comes to, you know, doing like combinations, like some people they'll do Bakugo and Todoroki, or they'll do Deku and Uraraka. You know what I'm saying? Like there's so many combinations that you can do when you're cosplaying with your partners. Now, I wanted to ask you this, because you said this was your first con that you had went to since middle school. Like, how different was it, like, you know, going to your first con in middle school and then going to your, you know, first con as an adult? Like, what was the difference? Who was that making a cameo?
My cat, Rohan.
Hey, Rohan. Oh, and we gonna get to the JoJo stuff too, because I have seen the JoJo cosplays, and everybody knows that I love JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Trav and D, they're not here to stop me, so we gonna talk about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And I've told them, I said, you guys would not like being on Who's That Cosplayer with me, because almost every cosplayer that I interview, they either like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure or they have done JoJo's Bizarre Adventure cosplay. So I think it's awesome that your cat's name is Rohan. But yeah, back to the question that I had asked, like what was the difference? Like, did you have that same feeling when you went to your first con, or did you feel like, you know, as an adult, like it was much more huger?
So when I was in middle school, I didn't even really piece together what you do at a con. Like, I don't even think I remember like people who are in costume, but there had to be, because it was a con, you know?
Yeah.
And my first con was MegaCon in Orlando. So this time when I went, it was so magical. There were so many different people. Like, I didn't expect people to want to like stop me to take photos, because I'm just like, oh, I'm here to go buy some like nerd stuff, you know? Mm-hmm. But my friend Crystal, she's a cosplayer as well, Crystal Mushroom. She was just like, make sure you get ready for people who are going to stop you to take photos with you, and you got to talk in your character. And I was like, talking character, I'm kind of scared for that one, because I don't know how that's gonna go, but it was really nice. And I did get to see a lot of other beautiful Black faces cosplaying as well. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite video games is Persona. I saw someone dressed up as Joker from Persona 5, and I almost fangirled. It was amazing.
Isn't that always the funnest thing? Is like when it's like you go to a con and like you're cosplaying as somebody, and then it's like you see somebody cosplaying as somebody that you're a fan of. And I mean, like, I totally understand like seeing somebody and just geeking out, because it's just like, oh my God, like you're cosplaying my favorite character. Like, I'm always like that when I see My Hero Academia, not characters, but people cosplaying as My Hero Academia characters, especially when I see Deku, and knowing that I'm going to NecoCon this year. Like, I've cosplayed before, like, you know, just wearing regular clothes, like from like I want to say like simple characters. I always feel like, you know, like Big Smoke from Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, you know, like the easy cosplay. But you know, this is gonna be my first time cosplaying as Deku from My Hero Academia, and I'm also going to be cosplaying as Jotaro from part 4 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. So
I cannot wait to see that.
No, I'm hype, and I just can't wait. Like I already told my friend that if I see other My Hero Academia characters, not characters, people cosplaying these characters, like I'm gonna say quotes to them. So if I see somebody cosplaying as Todoroki, I'm gonna be like, it's your quirk, not his. You know, I'm just gonna be saying it, like that's what your friend was saying, where it's just like, yeah, you gotta be in character. And like that's the one thing that I love about cosplay, is because when you are cosplaying as somebody, it's just like you're pretty much that character. And I know that it can be a scary feeling, you know, trying to either act like them or talk like them. But I feel like the more that you do it, you know, the more you kind of get used to, you know, being these characters. And that's the one thing I love about cosplay, is that you can be whoever you want to be. And I thought it was dope that you said that when you went there, like people were stopping you, they wanted to take pictures with you. And I just always feel like that's one of the coolest things, because you always think nobody's going to do it, and then you get people stopping you. And I always think that it's really cool, you know, being a person of color and, you know, just getting that love from people, because, you know, a lot of times we always see on social media that, you know, people of color that cosplay, it's like they really don't get that love. But it's way different when you're at an actual con. Like it's sure. Nothing but like love, support. Like people are like, oh my god, like your costume is awesome, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah, as soon as we walked in, a couple of people stopped us, and I was just like so shocked, but like happy, because I'm like, yeah. And it was huge. Like all of the vendors, there was this girl, she loved Sailor Moon, and you know, obviously by my handle, I'm a Sailor Moon fan. But she stopped me to take a photo because she thought I looked awesome as Princess Havana, and she was thinking about doing that cosplay but wasn't sure. And I was like, sis, here's the information, here's where I got my costume, like just do it.
Who's that cosplayer?
Starry Arcana.
So yeah, it was exciting. I definitely want to go to more cons for sure.
Yeah. So what's the next con that you're thinking about going to? Because I know that a lot of them are starting to open back up now.
I don't know. Like I'm not sure. I am so new to the con scene that I don't even know all of the names. I know that every single year though that I go to DC, which is around my birthday, July 14th-ish, there's a con in DC.
Is it Blurred Con?
Yeah. Okay. And I always miss it because I'm there for my birthday and not for cosplay.
Yes, I want to go there, but it's like I feel like every year that it comes around, like, well, before the pandemic, it's like I always had to wrestle like the weekend that they were having a con. So it's like I've never been able to actually go there and experience it. But I agree with you where it's like there's so many cons out there, and I feel like the only ones that I really know are NecoCon, because of course the local cons, but Blurred Con, Dragon Con is a one that everybody always talks about. I've heard of Dragon Con. Colossal Con, have you ever heard of that one? Mm-mm. That's one where it's just like people, they go there and cosplay and they wear swimsuits. So they do swimsuit versions of the characters. I mean, people still wear regular costumes there and whatnot too, but it's just like if you want to do a swimsuit version of that character, you can. But yeah, like there's a lot out there, man, and you just have to see where you want to go and just go from there. So one thing I want to ask you now is, because you've done so many incredible costumes, and hey, my new favorite, like I said, I saw the matte one. That was the first one I saw you in, but when I saw you cosplay as Yusuke Urameshi, I was just like, bro. And it's like I shared that on my page. I shared that in my Facebook group. Everybody was just like, yo, like that's so badass. So
oh my gosh, everybody gave me so much love for that one. I'm like, you guys are hyping me.
Because it was dope. It was really good, man. And you really don't see a lot of girls that do Yu Yu Hakusho characters, and when they do, you know, of course you see Botan or Honestly, I feel like that's it. Like that's really all you see is Botan. So, you know, when I saw your use case, I was just like, yo, like that was sweet. So I want to ask you, like, out of all of the cosplays that you've done, what are some of your favorites?
My favorites, definitely Princess Hibana. I love that one. I think Bruno, from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 5.
Golden experience.
And if I had to choose one more, probably Matt. Matt was a really good one because I got to do that one with one of my close friends. She was the photographer for that one.
Nice.
And yeah, she killed it. I was like so excited with how those photos came out. So definitely.
Yeah. And all of those that you just mentioned, like they're fire, man. Now, how I was saying earlier about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is Part 5 of JoJo. Is that your favorite part? Because I know that you also did Nanancia from that as well.
No, actually, my favorite part is Part 4.
Yeah, that's the best part. I don't care what nobody says.
I know it's like your slice of life, but you have like superpowers still, and like stuff is going on. And obviously my favorite character out of everybody is Rohan. So
okay, all right. I like that. Hey, usually it's either Rohan, Josuke, or Koichi. I really don't hear a lot of people talk about Okuyasu. It's probably because he's an idiot.
Yeah, don't like him.
But yeah, Part 4 is my favorite. Josuke is my favorite character. And I love Jotaro more in Part 4 than I do in Part 3, because I feel like he's more of a well-rounded character in Part 4, whereas in Part 3, he was just like, I'm going to kick your ass. And that was it.
Yeah, and the way he treated women in the first half of Part 3, I'm like, But Part 4, he like definitely calmed down. So
yeah, he's a lot more mature. Like he's helpful. He's the Joseph Joestar in Part 4, as Joseph Joestar was to him in Part 3. But
for sure, that's a good way to think of it. I didn't realize that, but you're right.
And then we still got Joseph Joestar in Part 4, and I guess he's helping. I don't know. But
my favorite Dio Brando is definitely one of my favorites too. Got to give him props.
I like Dio. Like for real. If I would have never watched Part 4, Dio would have been my favorite. But there's just something about Kira and just him just wanting to be by himself, not wanting to be bothered. And it's like his whole, like, it's like you think about it, it's like this guy, he was untouchable for so many years. And the only reason why he got caught was because he mixed up bags with somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like, can you imagine like being on the run? Because I want to say for almost like 20 years or something like that. Yeah. And he was still doing the same routine. If he needed a new hand, he would just get a hand. And also too, since we're talking about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, everybody that's watching, we've interviewed several characters from Part 3, from Part 4, and all of those videos are here on the channel. So make sure you go and check those out, because I love JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And if I can get anybody from the cast to join me up here on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks, then I'm going to do it. I don't care what D and Trav say. They can talk as much crap as they want about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but I love it.
It's the greatest.
It totally is. So to kind of move along, I wanted to ask you, what are some of your hobbies that you like to do when you're not cosplaying?
I love video gaming. Actually, I have Skyrim on pause right now for the interview. I'm gonna go back to that. And I like to do makeup. I practice. Cosplaying helps with that, because sometimes I like to do different looks with it, or try to make myself look a little bit more boyish when I do some gender bent cosplays. And I'm a foodie. I don't know if that counts as a hobby, but I like.
Oh, it does, because there's a lot of foods out there that you can try.
For sure, especially when I travel, that's the best part, because I can like eat guilt-free because I'm on vacation, trying different stuff, different places. So yeah.
I always feel like that's the hardest thing, because it's like you want to eat so many different foods, and it's just like, oh man, my diet is gonna be crap now.
So bad.
And it's like I just tell myself I'll just make sure I work out extra hard when I get back home. Like, it's crazy, because I know that you're located in California, and I watch so many videos of like all of these foods that they have over there and whatnot. I'm just like, man, like I would love to come to California. I mean, like we have stuff here in Virginia, but it's just, I feel like California is a whole different place. Same thing like when I went to Vegas, like when the first time I went to Vegas was the first time I had ever had a sushi burrito, and I had never seen that anywhere. And it was just like, after I went to Vegas, that was last year, like this year, I've seen so many places around here that start selling sushi burritos now. And I was just like, hey, that's dope. But I mean, I said, hey, Vegas was still the first place that I had it at. So moving along, because this is the spooky month, I love October. I love Halloween. I love like all of the horror stuff. Like, what are some things that you like to do to celebrate in October?
So I recently moved out here to Sacramento, California. And one thing that my boyfriend and friends got me to go to was Apple Hill. And it's basically like I would say like an autumn celebration, because you can go pumpkin picking, or you go to a pumpkin patch. I don't know the correct terms for this, because before that I was in Florida and we didn't really have any seasons there. So anyways,
it's all one season in Florida.
Yeah. The season is summer. So, but yeah, so we went to Apple Hill, and they had that. They have all these seasonal spices. They've got apple cider, hot chocolate. They've got pies that they make, and it's just really nice, like very nice fall vibes. So that's one thing that I definitely want to make sure that we get to do again. But other things I like to do to celebrate, I would say I buy fall scented candles.
Hey, nice. Hey, did you get that pumpkin spice candle?
Yeah.
Hey, it smells real good.
Gotta get my inner white girl on for that. So. And yeah, a lot more lattes and coffees, hot coffees in the fall. Now that it's acceptable to have hot drinks.
Now, do you go to any haunted houses or anything like that?
So actually this year, one of my coworkers is throwing a benefit. She does it every year, but this is the first time that I'm going to be participating in it. But it's for all the little kids to come through, and there's going to be a big haunted house.
Nice.
It's going to be in Roseville, and I'm very excited. I'm going to be doing Wednesday Addams.
Nice. So I was just about to ask you, who are you going to be doing? That's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm excited to do that, and treat the kids to a little spooktober.
Yeah. Hey, just make sure you don't hurt Pugsley if he's there. Just please don't.
I'm actually trying so hard to get my boyfriend to be Pugsley. We've got Morticia and Gomez, but no Pugsley. So I'm begging him, but we'll see.
And he can't be Thing or Cousin Ed. You
right?
Know, you know what I'm saying?
There's options.
I mean, he could be Lurch. He could be. You didn't say Uncle Fester, did you?
No, he could be Uncle Fester.
He could be Uncle Fester. I'm trying to think who else. I mean that's pretty much it. Like when you think of Addams Family, like those are like the core people. Now, since we're talking about Addams Family, I know the Addams Family 2, the animated movie, is coming out. Now, did you see the first animated movie, or?
I actually didn't.
Hey, you're not missing anything.
Okay, good to know.
And it's like a part of me, because I went to watch the first movie and I was so disappointed, and I was hoping that it was going to be more. But what was crazy is that like there were no kids laughing in the theater when I watched it. And the first movie came out the same year that Toy Story 4 came out, and I'm just like how? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like Toy Story 4 was awesome, but then I watched the Addams Family, and I'm just like, what is this? And then now they got a second movie, and I know when my friend went to go see it. What was that?
I said, yeah, I saw that it's coming out.
Yeah. A part of me wants to go see it, but then a part of me is just like, no, because you watched the first one and you said the first one was trash. So like, why would you even put yourself through the second one? Because I mean, honestly, sometimes you never know. Like, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie that came out a couple years ago, the first one wasn't all that good, but then the second one was better. So sometimes they can, fix the mistakes that the first one did, and sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But hopefully your boyfriend, he cosplays or does something that's Addams Family related for Halloween, because you only get to do this one time a year, and it's like you got to go all out for Halloween.
For sure.
So are you doing anything on Halloween to celebrate it or anything like that?
Well, the day of, my boyfriend's roommates also throw a Halloween party every year. So, because that's also around their anniversary time.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm definitely gonna be pretty drunk.
Now, kids that are watching this video, when she says that, she means she's getting chocolate wasted. So,
yes.
And,
hot chocolate wasted.
Yeah, hot chocolate wasted. Now, I'm supposed to be going to a Halloween party as well, and I am going to be going as, I haven't got the costume yet, but I hope it fits. It should. It's an inflatable one. I'm gonna get not the aliens. I don't know what they're called in Among Us. The guys in the outfits that's running around.
Okay, yeah. And
I can't remember what they're called.
Thing. Yeah, I have no idea, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I just know when one of them. Oh, the crewmates. There we go. Yeah, they're the crewmates.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna call them. But yeah, I'm looking forward to doing that, because I loved playing that game a lot last year when it came out, and it's like I want to be the imposter, or I want somebody to suspect me to be the imposter and then just kick me out of their house because they think that I'm the imposter, and then it'll say Benjamin Banks was not the imposter. So yeah, that's what I'm planning on doing. So with that being said, I just want to say thank you so much for joining me up here on a brand new episode of Who's That Cosplayer. And before I let you go, I usually always ask the question, what is some advice that you would give to anybody that wants to get into cosplay? But I feel like you kind of already answered that throughout the interview. So I'm going to ask the question that Dee always asks whenever we do our interviews for the podcast. And it's like, if you had to choose a favorite horror movie from either the 80s or the 90s, which one would that be? Or you could do 80s and 90s.
Okay, well, I have a favorite horror movie, but I don't know if it's 90s or the 80s.
If you shoot it at me, I'll be able to tell you.
Okay, Dead Silence is my favorite horror movie of all time.
Is that the movie with the dummies?
Yes.
That came out, I want to say 2007.
Yeah. Dang.
Hey, it's still a good movie. I just watched it recently too. Like I actually skipped like that movie came out around spring break when I was in high school, and me and my friends, like, hey, it was the Friday before spring break. You know what I'm saying? And we skipped. Hey, don't skip, kids. But we did it. Yeah, don't skip. But that was 2007. So if you could think, is there one from the 80s or 90s that you could think of? And if it's not horror, like, what's one of your favorite movies from the 80s or 90s? Oh no, it has to be horror because this is the spooky month.
Yeah. What's the one where he enters your dreams? That's a 90s.
Oh, Nightmare on Elm Street?
Yes.
All right, now which one? Because it's a bunch of them. If you give me the plot, I can tell you which one it is.
It's been so long since I've seen any of them, though. You know what made me remember it was I was watching Rick and Morty last night, and I was like, "Oh my god, I've seen this movie. I know what they're spoofing, but I couldn't tell you. It's been so long since I've seen the movie."
Hey, well, we just gonna say, because we just gonna stick with the 90s for that one. So Nightmare on Elm Street, we don't know which one. We just gonna combine all of them. But she's not talking about the Nightmare on Elm Street that came out back in, I think, 2010 or 2011 or something like that. Not that one. She's talking about the OG Freddy Krueger. So with that being said, thank you again so much for joining me up here. And before I let you go, let everybody in social media land know where they can find Sailor Tei Cosplay at. Okay, well, you can find me on Facebook, Sailor Tei Cosplay, Instagram, Sailor Tei Cosplay, TikTok, Sailor Tei Cosplay. And Twitter is Sailor Tei Cosplay as well, but there's no O in Sailor. Okay. All right, cool. All right, well, thank you again for joining me. Thank you, everybody, for watching all of the Who's That Cosplayers for the spooky month of October. I hope that you've enjoyed all of them. You know where you can find me, your hero, Benjamin Banks, at KingBenji_Banks on Twitter and Instagram. And then you can find me on Facebook at Benjamin Banks. I should be the first person to pop up. If not, then I need to contact Mr. Zuckerberg. Thank you again for watching this video. Make sure you check out some more of our interviews, reaction videos, and reviews that we have here on the channel. Podcast with brand new episodes every Tuesday, and the video of that episode up here on YouTube that Friday. Like I always say, keep that pinky up, stay positive, and stay safe when you go out trick-or-treating or if you go to any parties this month. Peace.
Thanks again, everybody, for watching another episode of Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe to the channel. Podcast, we got that too. Make sure you give us a thumbs up and hit that bell for further episodes and notifications. Thanks a lot to our patrons. And if you don't mind, join the Patreon. We'll be having new specials coming up soon.